Welcome back to the channel. So it's been another week of AI news, full stuff coming in from everywhere. A lot more news on investments and infrastructure stuff, more than say model drops, except for Grok 4. So let's dive into the AI generated script for today and see what I learned about and I'll tell you about. So I started the week with looking at how the big players are reimagining everyday tech. In one video, there was a fascinating discussion on AI wearables, where they were saying that Apple's AirPods may be like the sleeper AI device because everyone's got them, they're in your ears and they're accepted, compared to having like a pendant and something around your neck, like these little microphones, or glasses, which not everyone wears glasses, and you'll be making people wear glasses who don't need them just for the sake of having AI glasses. Even though those new Meta ones do look pretty good, the Ray-Bans with actual display inside the lenses, like they would be interesting. I was considering the previous Ray-Bans, but I didn't want them just to record video without seeing stuff. So having that augmented reality display in the lens, it could be interesting. Having them in AirPods, not so sure. I like the Dick Tracy model where it's in your watch, if anyone remembers that movie. I use Google Gemini on my watch all the time, hold the button down, it's mapped, and it just gives you information. The one thing I don't like about that model is you go into your Gemini chat history and every time you press the button is a new chat, even though you're asking it to set reminders and things like that. That's a bit clunky in the way they've set it up. OpenAI with Genie AI, still no one knows what that device is going to be like, but that's what they were discussing along with the AirPods. And then on the corporate side, Microsoft struggles to adapt in the AI era were clearly laid out when Satya Nadella put out business warnings about legacy pitfalls and highlighting challenges like Copilot adoption, which Copilot adoption has probably been lower than they expected because it's been like realistically like a half-baked model. Basic version of some AI, it doesn't improve. You do things in ChatGPT and you get a much better result. My experience after 2 days of Copilot and I handed over the license, because apparently Microsoft doesn't let you cancel a license. It has to be a yearly subscription because I think they're trying to lock you in because they know it's a bit shit. Meanwhile, YouTube and other platforms are embedding AI directly into their products. So YouTube has AI, I think, to help with content creation. They may be bundling a button into Chrome. So there's going to be a Gemini button in Chrome, which is going to be one of the biggest AI then releases to everyone because how large is the install base of Chrome? So these big companies aren't just trying to drive models, they're trying to drive a lot more AI adoption and stickiness in their own platforms. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. AI model and performance breakthroughs. One of the biggest things this week was Grok 4 Fast. Normally the fast models are like handicapped versions of the better models. So 4.1 versus 4.0, Grok 4 Fast. However, the 4 Fast model is apparently 30 times cheaper or something than the 4 model, something like that, but it's much faster. If there was a curve of models, you got the reasoning thinking models here, fast models here. Grok 4 Fast is like smart, it's high in the smart and low in the speed. So it's like out here on its own as an outlier. So whatever they've done, I'm not sure what sort of training they did or what inference time, what sort of hardware they're running on it, but it's apparently really, really fast. Just to get you an idea, like on the cost, it's apparently reduced cost. But since GPT-4 was released to where it got to, was like a 500x decrease in cost. So the models are dropping, speeds are dropping. Every time a new model comes out, the price reduces. But this is now in a different direction because they've done something different that no one else has done yet. And then again, coding contest. Yes, lots and lots of coding contests where AIs are getting gold medals, solving almost everything properly. So they just keep going and excelling. So the sort of benchmarks and tests that we're throwing at them, I'm not really benchmarking or testing anything now because they can just do it. So it's going to be interesting to see what these people are doing. There were some talks about a new software engineering benchmark test using sort of like non-open source GitHub project, so that way it doesn't get included in the training material. If they follow those instructions anyway, it's probably anything that's available is going to be in there. I don't think they're going to care about the licensing, honestly. So it's really interesting to see what that is. There was talks a couple of weeks ago of like the poker benchmark, where seeing how good a model could create a poker playing app that could play poker against each other, and that's a unique way of doing it and making it think. But we have to start having different benchmarks because it's just obliterating everything almost every time. And then GPT-5 released another Codex tool. Yes, so now this is the Codex model that runs in the Codex tool inside the Codex interface, the Codex CLI interface. So it's really confusing. I don't know why they keep using the same freaking name for everything. Like, come on, man, come up with something better. However, it's meant to be really good for coding. Once I play with it, I'll let you know. Futuristic AI infrastructure and compute scaling. If you thought the models were impressive, wait until you hear about the computing power behind them. One video I watched talked about the partnership between OpenAI and Nvidia. Apparently they committed $100 billion from Nvidia to OpenAI. So not only building the picks and shovels or the chips that everyone's using, they're now sort of influencing the players that are using them. That's going to be interesting. Well, they're like funding their own customer. So think of that what you may. There's also, apparently like the amount of power that we're going to need is like gigawatts, which we don't really have. So I think from the early 2000s, peak US power production has been relatively plateaued in the past 25 years. China's has accelerated and apparently can produce, I think it's 8 or 10 times the amount of power that America can. But now there's a huge investment in power and infrastructure in the US because they need to power all of these models and they want to keep it on shore. So now that's going to start skyrocketing, catching up because all these things need to consume all this power. And then there's investments in thinking about green and fusion and all this sort of other stuff in nuclear power. So I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? Microsoft invested in the power plants at 3 Mile Island, where they had that sort of a meltdown. I think it was in the late 70s after Hiroshima. So a lot of things happening in that space, and it's going to be power that runs all of this stuff. And these giant data centers are consuming shitloads of power. All I had in my head the other day was thinking about these movies, and you watch like Blade Runner and you see no spare patch of green anywhere, it's just buildings everywhere. That's what's going to end up happening. There's going to be power plants and data centers everywhere doing everything. Everything's going to be based on how much compute time you have to use these AIs to achieve anything, which is a really dark way to look at things. There's also safety and alignment is always top of mind of these people, especially at Anthropic. That's what they stand out with. New research in OpenAI discussed detailed videos presented a 3-step training pipeline that slashes the rate of covert misaligned actions directly. So covert misaligned actions is when it does something and tries to hide it from you and it's misaligned to what you actually wanted. They're the ones that they need to try and catch because that's the models effectively lying and trying to do things that you don't want them to do. So that's an interesting way to sort of look at that stuff. I don't remember the details of what they did or how they solved it, but if they think they've solved it or not, but there is something there. But really what they want to understand is the chain of thought along the way of the model. So what's it actually trying to do, not just what it's outputting to the user in their like reasoning. Amid all these innovations, one video I watched took a step back to analyze whether we were witnessing a bubble or a sustainable boom in AI investments. Azim Azar had a 5-gauge framework comparing this to the housing bubble, I think the tulip bubble, and then the .com tulips, apparently, like so the Dutch tulip mania. Apparently it's only the really rich people that copped it, not the entire economy, so it didn't really affect it. Then there's sort of like the railroads. It depends on when people get invested and what they do. So a lot of people were building railways to communities that didn't exist and didn't get used. So it was like wasted infrastructure. The .com boom was a lot of investment into products that had no business case. So when they folded, a lot of the core ideas that were actually useful stuck around, Amazon, etc. Where they say that this differs is this infrastructure will get used. Even if these companies fold, the infrastructure investments are not going to disappear. They'll continue being used in the future because it's what's the direction that everything's heading in. It's not necessarily a waste. A lot of money keeps going in, and there's a lot of like retail and the family, like retail people and public investing. But the large investors haven't pulled out yet, which is sort of what happened in those early ones. They pull out and then the retail ones cop it. So everyone keeps investing because they see that this is going and there is benefit being derived from all of these products. A lot of the startups where the venture people are over exuberant and throwing money at things and over evaluating, that's part of the risk of what they do. They invest in things with risk knowing that 2 out of 100 will work. So if you take that out of the mind and look at all the CapEx expenditure that's happening on infrastructure, it's a completely different thing. So don't let the VC evaluations cloud that area of the market because they're looking at it at a different lens. They're looking at just small businesses and trying to invest and make something work. So they're throwing money at everything. Where the bigger end of town are investing in these huge frontier company models, infrastructure, power generation, things that are going to be long-term beneficial. It's not a short-term market here. AI-driven commerce and integration tools. Lastly, let's touch on the integration of AI into everyday commerce, which was Google's agent to payment protocol. So a lot of discussions around that and whether it's going to go on-chain into the blockchain in the future or not. So maybe that will then blow up again and we'll have another Bitcoin boom soon. It's probably in that cycle where we'll be coming around again, actually. At the same time, YouTube rolled out AI features to automate editing of overlays, and Microsoft and ChatGPT continue to evolve safety and personalization features. Okay, so that's the end of the roundup of all the news I sort of did this week. Not a lot in the actual model space. I didn't watch a lot or read up a lot on individual little tools. There are tools everywhere. Like yesterday, Cloudflare saw announced a Vibe SDK, so you can make your own Vibe coding tool. Again, lots of image, video editing tools, content creation things around, but I don't really look at that because they're a dime a dozen. There's too many of them to actually talk about at the moment. The vibe coding is always interesting, where that's going, however it's moving, because that's where programming is moving. So we're deeply invested in that. As usual, let me know if you've got anything you want to improve, any discussions, thoughts about anything I talked about. Otherwise, until then, good luck keeping up with the news.